Welcome to Action Unwind. I'm Drew. This is Dean, and we are back season 2. Same bedsheet.
Same bedsheet. Yeah, you know, we took a little bit of time off, and during that time off, there were some very kind followers and viewers that had reached out personally to us and just said, when are you guys coming back? When are you guys
Where's
doing
season
more?
2, fellas?
As we spoke, this was just a fun hobby for us to begin with, and it's actually hitting some people that are following and loving it, and we appreciate that. And here we are. Let's do it again.
If you're new to our show, if you're having a long day at work, you come home, you go to your figure room, your collection, you're doing some figure photography, whatever you're into, put us on and unwind with us type thing. That's our whole goal, is throw it on. We want to unwind with you. That's why we always like to say thank you for taking the time to unwind. And while we were off, our lens became way more open to some different lines that are out there. And hardworking companies, man, that are outside of the scope of Hasbro and McFarlane and those big main players.
Yeah, I think that we obviously restructured, changed up what we had in the collection, moved some stuff out of our personal collection, and then found some new lines that are just absolute bangers. And what better way to start off than Spero Toys and their Animal Warriors of the Kingdom.
The AWOC Nation.
AWOC Nation. You guys, if you were sleeping on this line, get online right now, and we're going to tell you how to get these figures. These figures are so incredible. Right here we have Pale, you know, the hero of the line. As you can see, they are monkey/gorilla. Focused for the first couple figures. We have Kali, the main baddie, and then Big Bad General Thane. Like, look at the size of this figure. In any other line, this would be a bath, right? You're collecting 6 figures to get this.
The articulation on that size of a figure, too, is limited. Yeah. And then you get this line, and somehow with their witchcraft at Spero, you have better articulation on a bath-sized figure than you do some regular 6-inch figures.
Absolutely insane.
How you guys making it happen?
The armor, you get multiple heads, the accessories are lights. That's the coolest part about it. You know, when you think about this line, Animal Warriors, like what kind of weapons?
Yeah.
Is it swords? Is it guns? You get a
battle hammers?
Everything, battle hammers.
Yeah.
But like, look at the color, like you said, the articulation. Everything is like at par, if not better quality than we're getting with some of those mainstream
ones. And just incredible. To bring back the color too, like Dean mentioned, that's one thing that I love about this line. Like, just to get a couple figures together and stuff like that, you got a Treyu and Cordoon and whatnot. The colors, we're no strangers to repaints. Yeah. But I'm going to pull out 2 figures. Dean can start telling us about these repaints, because it's like, they share same molds. But
so every line does it, right? Every line does a repaint. Every line, brings out something. And sometimes there's complaints about that. If you take a look at these figures here, we have Pale, the main hero. We got Blight, another baddie. We got Vero Atlas and Tiberius. As you can see, same mold, but just by the different way that the paints have hit them, the different bit of small touches like armor add-ons, things of that nature.
Different weapon sets and stuff. Completely different weapon sets.
Different figures. Not even upset with the using of head sculpts and all of that, because they're just lighting it up and knocking it out of the park. The thing I love about this line as well is that there's a comic book series that goes with it. So with any line you're collecting, it's probably pretty common where the figures come out after the movie hits, after the experience of the show. Like, again, not knocking anybody, but like, there's production that needs to be done, right? So when Mattel brings out a new wrestler, and I know this from like my brother, because he's a huge collector into the wrestling figures, there's some really key figures that came out, but the storyline happened a year ago or 5 or 6 months ago. So like, it's still great to have them in your collection, but like, it takes the buzz away. I have these in my collection as I'm getting the new issue of the comic and I'm learning about the figures. So like, what's catching me is visually, the color pops, just the articulation, like the in my mind, the story behind them. But then when you're reading the story, you're like, man, like, this is not what I expected. As you're going to talk about Lexington.
Yeah. So like, a huge, I know we're absolutely singing praises because it's well deserved, but man, when one thing I love about certain figures is asymmetry. If it is done properly, it makes a figure just absolutely, like we always say, commands the visual on the shelf. Lexion was the first figure in this line that caught my eye, that I was just like, this guy, gotta have him. The asymmetry is phenomenal. We've talked about the color. The colors, how they match it, I don't know. Are you guys using a system or something, or do you guys have some sort of expert on color? I don't know, but they go together so well. You know, General Thane, the blue, the crimson red, and then the black of his fur looks phenomenal. Yep. Pale with his crimson armor. Blight, the colors on Blight, like I've never ever. I don't have another example of a figure that does that. Lexian, his colors are a bit more kind of earthy based. More of a somber color.
A nice matte.
Yeah, and you know what? They go together great. But I will say, and this is kind of the trade-off where you don't necessarily, you have the figures first, is Lexian, he caught my eye. I was kind of bummed to find out he's a baddie.
It's awesome.
Because I kind of want him to be a good dude because, you know, I want to kind of have the good guys in the corner. However, I will say that, like, if I'm, it's kind of the villains that make up the story sometimes. Sure. It's like why they talk about Batman being so good because the villains are so good. But like these figures, for those who can't clearly see already, they're all very unique. They're all very diverse.
You did mention earlier about there was a Kickstarter as well that happened as we were getting into the waves. So 3 waves were out. Wave 4, which we're going to talk about right away, that just came out. But the Kickstarter, like they're getting away from the kind of the gorillas and adding in like there's an ox, there is a lion,
rhino,
there's a fox, there's a rabbit. Like Series 2 Wave 1, I think is going to be Q1 or Q2 of this year, going to start coming out. And they are absolutely lights out. I can't wait to get immersed into this universe.
And let's address the elephant in the room.
Man, yeah, Derek and I.
The literal elephant in the room.
As soon as I saw the posts online about Mamba, the elephant, man, I reached out to Derek from Spero right away and said, what are you guys doing over there?
Yeah,
like,
it's witchcraft.
I've already created a space on my shelf, but like I had to move a shelf higher because General Thane is so big.
That's where it hit me, man.
The elephant is almost 2 to 3 times bigger. Like if you can search online for the last con they were at, they had a prototype out of him and he is massive and I cannot wait to get, like I just love the scaling, like the detail, the quality these guys put in is lights out.
It's phenomenal.
I appreciate it. You know, as we're talking about army building, in season 1 I talked about my small obsession for Crimson Guards in the classified line. I have a few.
It's a small obsession.
But like there are other awesome figures. Like you can see the Chitauri Legionnaire here. He's just a soldier of General Thane. They have other
gold.
They
have red
and then the Horrid, who is the house of that's the cool lore behind this too. And like you look into it, the Horrid, which is the lore for Kali. They have like Ravagers and they have infantry guys. Like there's so many different options to army build, which is fantastic. But let's talk about Wave 4.
Yeah. So one of our favorite segments on the show from the first season, and it seemed to be a lot of your favorite segment too, is Figure Victory. So with this line, I've had a lot of figures that I've just been like, oh, like, you know, Lexian holds a sweet place in my heart, but recently a figure came out.
Yeah, and just a quick reminder for those that might be new to the show, the Figure Victory is who is that figure you picked up this week. Either you were looking for a while, you were hunting, you were chasing this one, or just something brand new, you see it right away and you need to have it in your collection. What is that Figure Victory?
We've brought up a lot of things about this line. 3 big ones for me, the paint apps, the sculpting, and the colors. And I'll even throw asymmetry in there because these guys, this line does it right.
Some asymmetry.
And man, Aha Kin,
look at this.
Like he hits every single one of those marks. The sculpt is phenomenal. The snarling face.
Can I pause on that for 1 second?
Yeah, let's talk about it.
If you take a close up of that snarling face, like that, you can see just the progression in the line and the different things that Spero is doing along the way. And like that snarling face is not on any of these other figures, and it's just. It's awesome. In hand, it's an absolute.
It's got the extended sculpted mane, which I'm a huge fan of, and the asymmetry is dialed in. The paint apps, you've got shiny asymmetry on this side. You've got more of the dull, flat look, and it's hard to see from this angle, but you'll see it close up. There's chainmail on like the skirt, and it's just this one hits all the boxes with me. Phenomenally done, and if this is any insight to the future of this line,
the spots on them, like
they're gonna just keep crushing it.
So that's Wave 4, and with these, you know, you have a couple versions already. Like they're already doing some different versions of the figures. Like so, Pale, that's his adventure outfit.
Armor. They have gladiatorial.
The Gladiator Pale that just came out in the same wave. Atreyu has that as well. And then there's like a Necro one coming 5, like fully armored up.
We gotta wait to see where that goes though.
Yeah,
like with the
pretty
story.
cool. Different head sculpt on him too, which is awesome. But for Wave 4, my Figure Victory, absolutely take a look at this. the mongrel. Like, again, talk about an army builder. There will be many of these in my collection. Like, look at the posability. Again, same thing you said, the mane. And this is the first figure in the line that has an articulated jaw. I love that you can just do the head tilting too, make him look a little off, as every hyena seems to be a little crazy. And I've said this many times, look at the paint and the eyes. Like, they're so bright, it just like, it makes the character come to life. It's so great.
And one other quick thing too is the armor all comes off.
Yeah, it all comes off.
So you can do a couple different mods, one with no armor, one with extra armor.
The one thing that I love, and I know Spero and the team there love too, is they love reposting on Instagram, just seeing your kit bashes. Love to see how you're posing. Love to see what you're doing, what things you're adding to the characters. Like one of the characters we added a couple cloaks to and all that sort of stuff. Like there's some really cool things you can do, but this mongrel, this hyena, like absolutely lights out. That's the figure victory for me. So with that, this is Animal Warriors of the Kingdom by Spero Toys. Check them out.
Their website's great.
Website's great there. Go directly to them. You can order right from their website.
Our buddy Matt.
Our buddy Matt from Nerdzoic out down south, and also our buddy Mike at E-Collectibles up north here. You can get all of these figures with them. Please check them out. Animal Warriors of the Kingdom.
AWOC Nation.
AWOC Nation. Okay,
so moving on to another monster line, no pun. Big Bad Toy Store is a company I'm sure you're familiar with. What you might not be as familiar with is their Big Bad Workshop. They are in collaboration with a company called Fresh Monkey Fiction. Monster Squad, it was like one of my go-to movies, man. I loved it. It has that nostalgia hit. We love lines that will bring that back for us. I'm talking about Operation Monster Force.
Yeah, this is a fantastic line. I can't believe, as we've said earlier in the show, the quality of independent lines that are running past
pushing the status quo.
Some of those mainstreams. And we'll talk about the detail and everything of the figures, but let's take us in here.
Yeah, man. So right off the bat, the figures, details, the paints. What's going on with this line? Real short, you got to go look them up because they're getting comics out and stuff like that too. Operation Monster Force. There is a big baddie named the Forgotten King over by Dean. He's dug up. He's causing some havoc in the world, and and the government brings in Declan Van Helsing, who is from the Van Helsing family line. He realizes I can't do this on my own, so he goes into the family tomb and brings up Dracula. And they go to battle with this Forgotten King. Forgotten King's turning some people into zombies and stuff. And that's kind of your basic foundation. Van Helsing, monsters, mummies, like zombies, and tactical gear. Yeah. Like, what a combo.
Yeah. Again, another big win for me is what we spoke about with AWOC, is that you're getting the comics and the figures around the same time. So you're not having to wait for some of your favorites, but you're also learning of the characters as
that investment
as they're getting into your hands. And just the early reveals, like obviously Wave 1 is phenomenal. Just seeing what's up for pre-order with Wave 2 is the figures that are coming are lights out.
And Operation Monster Force, you'll see, throughout this season and throughout the future seasons and stuff like that. But this Wave 1, it sets the bar pretty high. And then to see the different pre-orders coming out for Wave 2, like the Kilowog and Chatsworth, this big Sasquatch coming out. Incredible. But for this line, man,
the thing that I love about these things is just like the paint apps again. We went from one line that's very bright and vibrant to the mystique and the darkness and just kind of that matte finish.
The real, it looks like fabric.
And
it looks
it just
like
feels
actual
dark.
Kevlar.
It feels monsterish. It's really cool. And if I can say the quality of these things compared to a classified. I'm not knocking classifieds, but when you're talking about price points and talking about what you're getting, I think, I showed you, I was pretty excited about Doc from the classified series where he has this vest. You can kind of,
and that was a big thing.
You can make the vest, put the pocket here, put things wherever. Every vest on these figures is customizable. You can do whatever you want. They're easy to remove, put back on, and just, the quality of, walkie-talkie, you get a blade, you get a handgun, there's
grenades,
there's clips, there's grenades, everything you can imagine, you can move around, customize, pull off, and rearrange. I love it. I think it's great.
The third big player with this line, we said, is Big Bad Workshop. You've got Fresh Monkey Fiction. We've had them on season 1 before to talk about their stuff. Gridiron Studios.
Yeah,
man.
Gridiron Studios, no stranger to that company. What they're doing for your classified line, for any of your figures, for Mythic Legions, they're putting weapons out, and now they're doing loadouts for vehicles. Like, we'll get into
loadouts for these guys.
Yeah, we'll get into what they've done for some of our Joe vehicles and what they continue to do. Like, every time there's a post on Instagram, we're sending each other, like, we're racing to, like, have you seen this? Like, Gridiron, if you can get accessories for any line, and now they're specifically doing it for this line.
Yeah, they're the home for that. Yeah,
this is the standard.
So we've got Declan Van Helsing. Another thing it's a little thing, but I think is very creative too, is these figures, as you can see with Dracula, they stand on their own, no problem. If you do want to stand, you've got a stand. It even has the name. But what the stand also doubles as is a tombstone, which it's a little thing. It's the fact that they took the time to think about, like, okay, we need to give them a stand. They could have given us a clear plastic oval stand like a lot of places do.
Yeah.
But it's like, give them something cool, give them something different. It's a good little centerpiece to have.
For your displays, for your fig photography, it's pretty cool to have. And let's bring up some of these other figures, because when we talk about army building in any line, there are some figures here that take army building to the next level based on what you can do. And I know you've spent hours with these things. Oh yeah. So Forgotten King has a series of kind of, troopers and stuff called Sleepwalkers, right? So you've got the Heavy Weapons Division Sleepwalkers. I will say, I'm going to bring up a couple so you can kind of get some contrast and stuff. These are all the same body, but like we talked about with other lines, the absolute dialed-in ability to change the color and make it almost seem like a brand new figure is just becoming unmatched. So these are all the same body. These are your Sleepwalkers. You've got the Crimson Moon division. You've got the Obsidian Elite in the middle here, and then you got your Heavy Weapons one, clearly with the heavy weapons. The details on the littlest things on these figures, man, are incredible. The backpacks and stuff, we'll show you a couple of those. They're completely customizable. What line can you name brings out the ability to kit bash their own figures? Like, it's such a smart play. It's such a great versatility in the line. So, I mean, what I love too is you can have them set up. I have mine set up, my Crimson Moon have the same head, the Obsidian Elite, and vice versa and stuff like that. But it's like, say I get tired of that, I can literally change the heads, switch them out. It's so clever. I love so clever. I love this like kind of like dark, like scientific look. Like these guys have all been built in a lab, but also like this kind of steampunkish. Yeah. It's all wicked. Like, every little piece, hose, everything comes off, and you can just move it around and make it unique so that you can, again, whatever idea you have that's running through your brain, you can absolutely make these your own. It's fantastic.
And like, they look sinister, and we'd mentioned too on other lines, like the paint apps have become big things kind of for us, the appreciation for it. And like these Obsidian Elite, the head, they all have the same head, but the one that has kind of almost the skull paint, the fact that the eyes almost look like they're glowing. Like, I don't know how I know how they do it. They do it with paint, but it's just like the fact that they're able to replicate that effect. It just hands down, like, just hats off.
Wave 1 knocked it out of the park.
Just to tie in a bit more of kind of what the story's about, Van Helsing brings in some people, finds out that humans, they get turned into zombies by the Forgotten King, so that's no good. So he digs up Dracula, and he has a special forces team.
Yeah,
these guys are, in my personal opinion, the standard right now of tactical figures. The vests and stuff. Dean, you want to talk about the vests? I'm going to bring up some more here.
These vests are incredible. Like, when you get these and pull them out of the box, the elbow pad, the shoulder pad, everything is off the figure. So you're actually building these to, again, make them unique to how you want them. But you're putting everything on. It's great. Everything, all the holsters, everything, again, the pockets, everything you can move on these vests and, make them unique. And they don't have to be all, we talk about army building, they don't have to be identical. There can be some uniqueness to each one, but these things also reminded me when you first pulled them in the box. I remember a couple episodes I watched of The Walking Dead where there was a full riot gear zombies and stuff. A little bit of that, but like, again, the darkness, just the matte finish of these things, incredible.
So just quickly to get the concept too, these are part of Van Helsing's Delta Red team. Right here, you've got the Urban Elite, and then you have the Nocturnal Elite here. So like, for me, again, they give you kind of the foundation. Here's the premise, urban, nocturnal. So I went in with the armor and I was like, okay, well, I want the urban guys to have heavier armor with smaller weapons for close combat. I want the nocturnal guys to have lighter armor vests with bigger weapons and stuff like that, so they could kind of combat. The helmets, they move, and say you don't like this helmet, you can take the shield off, you can put this helmet on, you can get the vampiric head. It's just wild, man. I love it. I love it.
I said it earlier, I'm a huge classified fan, but I mean, for what you're paying and what you're getting accessory-wise, like
quality.
There's nothing in the mainstream market that is giving you what these companies are giving you with Operation Monster Force. And as I mentioned, like the next wave and some of the figures coming out, they're getting bigger, they're getting badder, and like sky's the limit with these guys.
To see some good reviews and articulation and kind of close-ups of what you get, the sheer amount of gear you get with these figures. Right now, I don't know another toy line that's actually providing that much versatility with the line. Go hit up Robo Don't Know, formerly of the Foosh, on YouTube. He's got all of Wave 1 reviewed, and he has the Kilowog in Wave 2 or Wave 1 coming out, which is like I'm just going to say it's a werewolf with a machine, like a Gatling gun.
Yeah.
Like, what a combo. But yeah, this line, man, I'm super excited for it. I'm excited for the story. Even if it was just the story, I'd be like all over the comics. But the fact I get figures with the story, Big Bad Workshop and Fresh Monkey Fiction, man, go check them out. These are exclusive to BBTS and Fresh Monkey Fiction, so go to their websites, check them out. And thank you guys for providing us with this line and this story and this excitement.
Operation Monster Force. Do not sleep on it.
So that's going to wrap this episode, Season 2, Episode 1. We are back. We're happy to be back. We want to thank you all for, reaching out and saying, where are you guys at? Because it's nice to be appreciated. It really is.
Absolutely. Thanks, everybody. Again, do not sleep on these two lines. The lines of the season for us: AWOC, Animal Warriors of the Kingdom, OMF, Operation Monster Force. Go check them out, get them in your collection, and hit us up in the comments if you do have some and what your favorite figures are from the line so far.
As always, thanks for taking the time to unwind. We'll see you on the next time.